Hey guys, this is Mark Walton for Ars Technica. I'm here with Sam Machkovech, and we are at the PlayStation VR experience, which is just taking place after the PlayStation press conference. And my oh my, are there a lot of VR games here.
There are a lot of VR games here tonight. They are saying we're going to get up to 50 VR games launching by the end of this year, ahead of the mid-October launch for PlayStation VR. And there's a bunch of stations all behind us. We've been trying to fight through lines to get to a bunch of stuff. First off, though, there was a press conference really setting the stage for letting people know PlayStation VR is happening this year.
These aren't just small VR games and smaller experiences. That's been a common criticism of the HTC Vive and the Oculus. These are big name games.
Have you heard of Resident Evil?
I believe I have, and I believe that in VR it is going to be extremely scary.
What about Batman Arkham VR?
Oh, I've not only heard of Batman Arkham VR, I have played it. And you know what? It's so cool. It's so cool. So basically, it's a simple experience, but you basically go in and, Alfred comes up to you, starts talking to you, gives you a key, you grab it, put it in a piano, and then you end up in the Batcave. And then you have to go put the bat suit on, and you have to put the cowl on, and then you grab a gun and a scanner, and then you grab the batarangs, and they ask you to throw them, and you're like, this is just so cool.
So you get to go into a little chamber and try out a bunch of Batman toys.
Exactly. So it's all Batman toys, and you just playing, trying them out. Get a detective mode sort of thing when you put the cowl on. Everything's got these cool scan lines over the top. It's very cool. It ends on a point where you descend into the Batcave. It's like an extended sort of just a VR trip. It's just a very cool experience, and I can't wait to see what they do with the rest of the game. I think the key thing is, it's not like a third-person action game sort of thing like the Arkham Knight series. It's a VR first-person experience, but a good one at that.
Sounds really good. I got to try out a game that wasn't necessarily that huge, but certainly beloved by gamers. The Psychonauts series is coming back. The Rhombus of Ruin is the name of this experience. Very story-driven, very narrative. It is about using your telekinetic powers in order to uncover mysteries and solve puzzles. You're playing as Rasputin. It is set after the experiences of the first game, but before the second one. Rasputin is on an aircraft in this demo. It's a sort of demonstration of the engine, of how you look around the environment, warp into other people's bodies, bump sort of things with your mind. Lots of points where you look around in the world, feel like you're there, and little jokes pop up. It was fun. I really look forward to it taking narrative to a VR level.
So I went and checked out Final Fantasy 15.
Final Fantasy 15 VR.
VR experience. Now, here's the thing, guys. I love Final Fantasy, and I love Final Fantasy 15. I think it's going to be great.
I see where this is going.
The VR experience, on the other hand, not so sure, guys. So basically, you're transported into the Final Fantasy world. It's first person, which is odd, but hey. And you get given a gun, and then you're asked to shoot a big behemoth. And essentially, you just do this.
You mean just squeezing the trigger finger over and over?
It's for a long time. You're just doing this and this and this, and eventually, my finger actually physically started to hurt, so I had to switch fingers, and you're shooting. And you use the move button to transport between different places around the behemoth.
Right.
That's about it. And then you get to drive in the car like they showed during the press conference, and you get to look around and go, ooh, I'm in a car. It's great. That's about it.
So there is still things that remain to be seen about PlayStation VR, taking big names. Some of the stuff like Resident Evil looks fantastic, looks terrifying. Other concepts might not be so perfectly suited for it. I will say the indie selection that's been out here has really blown my mind. Res VR, I think, would be the top of that indie list, even though it's a refresh of a 2001 Dreamcast and PlayStation 2 classic. Now it is at its time. In VR, the music that thumps, the way everything comes at you as you look around this rhythmic world, and essentially match your vision to the things in the world in order to defeat them, to become a master of the domain. Thumping in the controller feels very cool with the beat driving. Really enjoyed that. Now, my big actual surprise here, I have to look this way. The Static Institute over here. Wonderful indie VR game, all about puzzle solving, using your hands in virtual space in order to look at a contraption, find the solution to a very complex puzzle. It's everything I want. If I'm going to use a controller in VR as opposed to playing on a normal screen, that amount of immersion made me feel like I was playing a puzzle that could only be done in VR. Holy cow, pretty cool.
Man, you seem blown away by this. I need to go try it. I'm going to finish up on one other game, and it is not a big game this time. It is an indie game. It's called Tethered. Now, this is a VR strategy game, which, you know, you're thinking, okay, how's this going to work? It works so well. It's like the cutest thing. It's very much like the old school Populous games, or like Black and White, that kind of stuff. And essentially you have these little guys called peeps that you hatch from eggs, and then you do resource management. You get them to, you know, mine things, or, you know, fight little creatures or whatever, and you hatch more of them, yada, 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 right? Standard strategy stuff. But it's the control scheme that's interesting, because making it work, A, on a control pad, and B, in VR, has always been a challenge for strategy games, right? So the way it works is you use the headset to look around and point at a thing. So you point at a cloud, and then you just push one button, and it transports you to that location. And that's it. It's a one-button game.
Okay, wow. One-button game for a strategy game.
So to move characters, you hold down X while you look at a character, and then move your head, and it draws like a little tether line, hence the name Tethered.
Tethered, yeah.
And then they move around. It works so well, it's very cute, and I actually was kind of gutted that I lost my demo quite horribly. I didn't do very good strategy management.
I think it's really interesting here. They're really pushing forward with a lot of indie support, a lot of AAA names. Some of those AAAs are really shining. The line for Resident Evil is insane.
It's insane.
Real show of force, though. Good showing. And also, I would say, the set's really comfortable. It looks really good. Anyone who hasn't gotten the chance to put it on, I will say, I'm sure you agree, it's comfortable. It looks smooth. That's going to be a big selling point. They're going to have to get that gospel out to people as this moves towards the October date. But from what we're seeing here, there is going to be real PlayStation VR content in time for October. That's good news.
Yep, I can't wait. Like you say, it's a very slick headset. And don't forget, guys, look, if you want to read more about the PlayStation VR, you can head over to arstechnica.com, and we'll see you soon.